and good evening, and welcome to THFC Till I Die, your home of Tottenham from past to present. And tonight, well, it's a sad stream. It's an end of an era for many people of probably another generation of myself. But as me, as a young football fan growing up, seeing the great Pele of the 1970s, even back to 58 when he made his debut for Brazil and scored that goal against Wales to set him on the way on his career of it was a remarkable career from nothing where he started. Joining me tonight for this short stream, looking back on the life and times of the greatest Pele, it's my usual co-host, Miss Queen Ellie Hoybier. Ellie, how are you? And very, very sad news this evening coming out of Brazil.
Yeah, such a sad news, you know. I shed a tear downstairs. I was watching my husband's team QPR play, and then the news broke. And basically, I was shocked, but I knew he was ill, right? And I knew that there's going to be a time where we're going to hear about his passing. But it's such sad news, Dermot.
Yeah,
what a fantastic player, and a World Cup icon, and millions of fans all around the world didn't know matter what nationality they were, they loved the man because of his humility and what he did outside the game as well.
Yeah. I mean, Pele for me was not just a footballer; he was the first really major superstar of world football. And even himself called the great George Best the greatest players he ever seen. So Pele was never really happy with this tangle of the greatest player. He always thought other players were better, but Pele was better. We also, just very quickly, this show is been sponsored by Nick Coupland. Thank you so much, Nick, for all your help, all your support. And we really appreciate it so much from everyone here at THFC Till I Die. Also, if you can, there is super chat if you want to get your thoughts in about Pele, and also become a channel member. They're now active as well. So do become a channel member like Nick did. Nick, become a Bill Nick member. Thank you so much, Nick. It really helps with the channel and helps it grow, and
thank you.
helps us do more that we want to do with the channel that we're looking to do in the coming year. We'll get through some of these comments, Ellie, and then we've got some stats to bring up, which is quite mind-bending if you look at these stats.
I know, incredible.
We've got Benji here. Yeah, I apologise, Benji. Dyslexia is a bitch. She really is. But look, I know what I meant. You know what I meant. Yeah. So thank you very much indeed for coming in. And we've got Nick Coupland. Big up, Nick. He says, R.I.P. to the legend Pele. Yeah, absolutely. And again, thank you, Nick, for sponsoring this show and the channel as well. So thank you very much. We've got Benji says, Messi, the greatest of all time, miles clear of everyone, but Pele was definitely a legend. God bless him in his eternal heaven. Look, Ellie, we had that debate not so long ago, Pele versus Maradona, and of course I'm a massive Maradona fan, same as you. I think we had Mark on and somebody else saying Pele. Look, two different eras, but Pele was a genius, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think it's a time to reflect on what a great player he was, not comparison, reflection, right? Because the guy, me growing up as a little girl, loving football anyway, coming from a very football-orientated family, 7 brothers and all, you know, all rooting for Brazil because, like, England were our team, but Brazil were our team that we loved. We loved to watch them play. And Pele was at the pinnacle of everything good about Brazil. You know, off the pitch, on the pitch, what a fantastic icon to everybody and a role model as well. Such humility when he spoke, such poignant messages he sent out to the world about world peace, about, you know, being friends to one another, uniting nations. You know, this is a footballer with a fantastic heart for the people of the world as well. So, you know, Pele, he's a footballer, but to me, he's a true and utter legend of the human race.
Yeah. For me, Ellie, Pele is the greatest of all time. The greatest is bounded around too much these days. You get a player that does a great season. Oh, he's the greatest player we've seen since whenever. Pele was the greatest player of all time. And for me, that header against Gordon Banks in 1970, you know, it immobilizes that game, England versus Brazil. If anyone should watch it, find it on YouTube. It's probably the finest game you'll ever watch in any decade of World Cup football. You had that tackle by Bobby Moore. You had the header by Pele against Gordon Banks, the goal by Jorginho as well, who was still the only player to score in every round of a World Cup. And that Brazilian side was something else, absolutely something else. So big up Wilton McDonald. Hope you're doing well, sir. And I hope you had a lovely Christmas as well, sir.
And Wilton's a goat as well, because what a great supporter of our channel. Yeah.
We've got Power Donut, Messi, Pepe, legend mates. Yeah. And he's also said Messi might clear. Yeah. that's a great name, Power Donut, I have to say. Fair play to you. And welcome to the show, sir. Never seen you before, but welcome. Wilton saying, yes, the greatest British football is George Best. Yeah, by a mile. I mean, Ellie, very quickly, I know we're going to go back to Pele. Georgie Best, have you seen anyone like him since?
Oh, my God. The only one I can put near him is Messi, right? Because he's similar players. You know, the dribbling player that dribbled through the whole of the team and scored a goal. And the nearest one at Spurs was Jimmy Greaves.
Yeah.
Even Jimmy Greaves, the great Jimmy Greaves, he scored more goals, but the better footballer was definitely George Best.
Yeah.
And I will concede that, you know, because I love Jimmy Greaves. I loved what he did for our club as well. George Best, ace, brilliant.
Yeah.
And good looking as well for the ladies.
There's a funny story with George Best, isn't there, with him in a hotel room with a bellboy. Mr. Best, where did it all go wrong with Miss World on the bed and all the money? You think it ain't gone wrong. It has not gone wrong.
He's living the life, isn't he?
He is.
What a life
we got Dickie Simmons and Sanchez, Doherty, Dyer, Tantanga, Højbjerg, or I wouldn't say Højbjerg in front of Mrs. Højbjerg here.
You know what I mean? Simmons, you're playing it a bit dodgy there.
Yeah. Big up. And we've got Shamu. Big up Shamu. He says, Atletico Madrid are in about 30 minutes, yet again, regular on the bench.
Yeah.
But tonight is about Pele, Ellie. We've got some of his stats here now, if I can get them. Now, these what are going across the bottom of the screen was his club records. Now, he played for Santos for most of his career, for all of his career in Brazil. But this is what he won in the domestic of the Brazilian league. I mean, it's quite outstanding, isn't it?
Amazing.
I mean, Santos is one of the biggest clubs in Brazil anyway.
1962, I see there. That's a year I was born. Yes.
Yeah. And, you know, and then, of course, we go to this here. I leave that going across the bottom so you can see. But this is his international career. 3-time World Cup winner with Brazil. He won the Taça do Alacalão in 1960, the Roca Cup in 1957-63, the Taça Oswaldo Cruz Cup in 58-62, and then in 68 he won the Copa Bernardo Higgins in 1959. One thing he never won was the Copa America.
No, but it doesn't matter because he won 3 World Cups, so that made up for it. And you see this, Dermot, which is very interesting. The only team that broke his getting 4, a quadruple, was England in 1966. And I was 4 then, but I remember it very well because I remember Pele. Like, do you know what I mean? You see a player, right, and you want him to be successful because you love him, right? So when he won those 3 and England broke it, I was actually quite disappointed in a way because I was thinking he's going to get a hat trick of World Cup wins, you know. So it don't matter. England have to do something, you know. They had to do something in world football, and that was their glory year. Yeah,
it is. Look, for me, 58 made his debut for Brazil in the World Cup. Pele scored the first goal against Wales, then 2, I think, against France, and then scored 2 against Sweden, or 3 against. I can't remember. Is it 3 he scored against France or 2 against Sweden? It's the one way around, I think. I can't remember.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was 3 against Sweden.
They beat Sweden in the final. I know. I think he got 2 in
No,
the
I think he
final and
got
3 in
2.
the
He got
semi-final.
2 in
Yeah,
the final, didn't he?
yeah.
And
And
3 in the
then,
semi-final.
of course, 62 in Chile, he was kicked out of the World Cup. Of course,
Yeah.
injured. And then 66, Ellie. I mean, I wish we had Philip Brady on because Philip would remember this. But look,
Yeah, he
for
would. So
footage we've seen,
young.
Ellie, what do you remember of that 66 final?
Um, what, the England final?
No, of the Brazil side of Pele. He got kicked out, didn't he? He got
Yeah,
referees weren't looking after him. He got
yeah,
battered, didn't he?
yeah, he did. I just remember him cutting a sad figure, and my dad talking about him as
Mm,
well, because my dad loved Pele. Who
mm,
didn't love Pele? You know, anyone who had any thought about them, they loved
mm,
Pele because of because of the way he played, and he was such a fabulous athlete for that era. You know, I
mhm,
think he can even come into a match now and score a hat trick just like that with not
mm,
even a blink of an eye. You know, I just felt um, that he gave so much to the game
mm,
on and off the pitch, and what an ambassador for the world game of football. You know,
mm,
World Cup. It's a magical thing, isn't it, Dermot?
it
You know,
is.
I know you love the World Cup, and you're
I
such
do.
a historian.
I do.
Yeah,
Um, for me, 66 was a watershed for Pele. I think he
yeah,
refused to play for Brazil again. He refused
yeah,
to play after. I'll never play another World Cup. He got
yeah.
persuaded to play in the 70s, and then you had the 70Ks.
Oh my
You
God,
had
that
Jarzinho,
was the
you had
best team
Gerson, you
ever.
had Riverino.
Oh my God.
Thank you very much for the 2.99 super chat. I'm not going to read out your name. Um, I'm not even going to try. But thank you very much for the super chat. But thank you very
Thank you very
much.
much.
Yeah, you're very kind, and that will go towards the New Year's Eve party that Ellie's throwing at Ellie Towers
Ellie
New
Towers.
Year's Eve. So yeah, thank you. Um, Wilton, she says yes, Ellie, I agree. Uh,
Yeah.
Benji, nobody cares you're a CEO. It's about Pele, mate. Big up, Benji. Thank you very much. And then Milton McDonald said, I think Best was the footballer who opened up commercial activity for the modern day players. Ellie,
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah, because he was such a lovely
Mm,
man to talk to as well. I remember him being on Parkinson as well, and he was so brilliant on that. And everywhere he went, everybody fell in love with him, even if they didn't love football.
mm,
They loved Pele, you
yeah.
know, because what he stood for, and he's coming from a very
Mm,
poor, unprivileged background, you know, and he's made it a top flight of football. And not only has he made it, he's
mm,
entertained us all throughout
yeah.
those years. All right, I was a little girl. I was only 8 years old in 1970, but I remember that World Cup
Mm,
because I was like playing football myself outside, pretending to be
mm,
him, you know.
mm,
And yeah, I just feel he gave so
mm,
much, and he made our hearts really strong for
mm,
Brazil as well because everybody loved their kit for
yeah.
starters. Everybody loved the way they had a swagger on the pitch, and
Mm,
it's almost like they were dancing the samba, you know,
yeah.
when they received the ball. And what fabulous goals and bending
Mm.
of the ball they did!
I
Fabulous,
tell you, there's a story behind that kit, and I'll tell you that now. They
yeah.
played in white in 1950, and when they lost against Uruguay, they refused to wear white again. So
Mm,
before coming up to the 1954 World Cup, they had a competition of designing a new kit for Brazil.
yeah,
And I remember watching the documentary about some kid, I think in Sao Paulo, come up with the design. And that's been the design for every
lovely
World
design. Well
Cup.
done, that kid.
Um,
You know, give him a Blue Peter badge. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
we've got
Yeah, I think
Benji's.
maybe Dermot, they was just to interact, right? Maybe they were thinking, well, Spurs are the Lily Whites. We can't get better than that.
No,
We can't take their colour.
no. And we've got Nick Coupland here. And if you want to be like Nick with his little badge beside his name, get a channel membership, and then you can be like Nick as well. Thank you,
Yeah,
Nick, so much. It means a lot.
it does.
Ellie, I just want to give you a cuddle. I'm sad with you. Big up to you for
Yeah,
doing this stream tonight with Dermot at a difficult time. Look,
No
You
worries.
could not. It was like Maradona. You wish you could do the. I could have done the stream for Maradona, but
No.
I didn't. Um,
And I ate the curry so quick
I
that
know.
I hope it doesn't turn on me.
We've got Derek Hutchison. Big up, Derek. He said, rest in peace, my friend."
Yeah.
Yeah, Pele, rest in
Yeah.
peace. Exactly.
Rest in peace.
And Wilton says, "I wish Philip was on. He and I are from the '66 era." Look,
No.
we will get Philip. Me and Philip are on tomorrow doing the fan show. So if
Yeah.
you want to come on, then Wilton, come onto the fan zone, as it's now called. Come on then, and maybe Philip can take us down the trip down memory lane, because I would love to pick your brain. That's so much. Ellie, 1970 World Cup memories for me. That header by Gordon Banks, as I've already said, and then there was a shot against Yugoslavia he took from the halfway line.
Oh my
And he
God.
only missed the goal by that much.
I know, it just went over, just
Yeah,
an inch and a bit, wasn't it? Not even that.
it was.
I just remember it with such fond memories, because being in a household of boys,
Yeah.
I was one of the lads, and they didn't treat me like a girl. They treat me like one of the lads, right? So they're all cheering, and they're older than me as well. So they've got more bonds as well.
Yeah.
They've got more up there. I'm only 8 years old. I'm a snotty little kid, but I love football. I've fallen in love with football because of my dad's passion, and his passion for Pele, especially. He stood out amongst all those men. He was a king of football, right up there with he was at the top. No one could top him, and he'd won his third World Cup after all that kabadoo about the 1966. He came back even stronger. And what a team he played in, Dermot. What a team.
Scored Brazil's 100th goal in the final with a header started the first goal against Italy, because they won 4-1. And that last goal by Brazil, where they just danced around the pitch with the ball, was something you'll never see again. But he didn't. He finished his career in 1970, and then he went to America, and he went with the New York Cosmos, because over there the MLS was just starting in America. All the big players were going over there. Franz Beckenbauer, Georgie Best was in over there. There as well. You had a few of the English players going over to America, and he made 64 appearances for New York Cosmos, got 37 goals. He made 636 appearances for Santos and 618 goals. I mean, that's some record in itself.
Oh my God. And we marvel about our strikers in England scoring 200 or 300, and this guy scored over 1,000. I know some people say, "Oh, it's not recorded," but look, it doesn't matter at the end of the day. The man was a genius. Doesn't matter how many goals he scored. We know he scored even more, probably on the beach. Playing beach football.
See, in Brazil, they play without. They play with their bare feet in Brazil.
Oh no, on the beach.
Pele was a lot of things, Ellie, but also his charitable work, also his work for all the commercial work he did for FIFA and MasterCard, and also UNICEF as well. Yeah. If you're looking back at his legacy, Ellie, what would be the one thing that you could take out of? What was the one thing you would take with you from your memories of Pele?
Well, on the football side, it would be his fantastic energy and his goals. His goals were amazing, like the way he leaped for that goal. Oof, take that, boof. And it makes you stand up and appreciate the man. You applaud. Even though you're not from Brazil, you applaud still. And away from the game, it's just his generosity and his big heart for the human race. And the way he spoke. Every time he spoke, you listen to every single word, and you hang on to every single word that he's saying, because whatever is coming out of his mouth is really, really it hits you in your heart. Yeah. What a great man.
He was. Yeah, we did get your super chat. I just cannot bring up your chat because of your last name. I'm sorry, I can't do it. And Ellie knows why I won't do it, because it is a bit rude. So no disrespect to you. We did say thank you for the $2.99. We do appreciate it, but we just can't bring up because of your last name. So that's the only reason. And he did say, well, he didn't play in Europe, but he is a legend. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But we did mention your super chat, but we just can't bring you up because of your last name. That's the only reason, because young children do watch this as well.
Yeah.
He was kicked out of McDonald here. He was kicked out of the tournament. That was my first sight of him. The man I grew up hearing how he was the best. Sadly, he was out of the tournament. Well, that's going back to '66, where he was literally kicked lumps out of. And if Pele was around now playing with Messi, Ronaldo, and Maradona, say the four of them were playing in the same era, Pele, Messi, Ronaldo, and Maradona. Out of them four, and I know we don't want to talk about who's the greatest out of any, because they're all different eras. But if they were playing all in the same era, who do you think would rise to the top?
Right. I have to say Pele, because the amount of goals he scored, the way he linked up play with all the players. He wasn't just a goal scorer; he was a unique footballer as well. And it's not just because he's passed away. I'm saying this. I would have said that anyway, right? Because when he went on that pitch, he was like a god. All the players respected him. All the opposition players admired him. They'd it was almost like they're on the pitch, right? And they're privileged to be on the pitch with him, right? But not only that, they pay him due respect. When he scored, all the opposition fans would clap as well, because they realised how fantastic a player he was. Even though it might have broken their hearts and knocked them out of the World Cup, they stood up for him, because what he done off the pitch and the way he spoke, I've said this, right? But it just hits right through to you as a human being.
It does,
and it makes you realise that there are good people out there helping, and Pele was one of them. And he was, I just can't praise him enough, Dermot.
No, he came from a very poor background, Ellie. He came from nothing, and it's really the rag to riches sort of story. There is a film called Pele out there, isn't there?
Yeah.
And I would advise anyone to watch it. It's a brilliant film.
Yeah.
Another film he starred in, Ellie, do you remember?
Yeah, he starred in that one with Ozzy Ardiles in.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, and Sylvester Stallone, Escape to Victory.
That's it. Bobby Moore was in it. Who else was in it?
And the Ipswich Town player. I can't think of his name.
I can picture him. Scottish fella.
Yeah, I can't think of his name. But there was other people in there.
He played for Liverpool as well, I think.
Yeah. What was his name?
Hang on, I'm going to look
now. Anybody can help us out. The Ipswich Town player with the nice hair. He had really lovely hair. I remember that. It'll kill me. Sometimes I've got a good memory, and others it's on the tip of my tongue.
I know, same here.
Have you Googled it?
I am.
Yeah.
I'm cheating.
I just remember Ozzy Ardiles.
You had Michael Caine in it, Sylvester Stallone, Pele, Bobby Moore, Ozzy.
Yeah.
Paul Van Himst. He was Belgium.
Yeah.
You had the Polish player, which I'm not going to announce. You had another Norway player, Havila Thorsen.
The Town player.
Yeah. Oh, where is he now? God, there was a lot of players in it.
Oh my God, there was.
Oh, do you know what? I can't see him.
Oh,
what was his name?
He played for Ipswich Town now. I remember that. Yeah.
He did.
Do you know what? It's going to kill me.
Oh, sorry. Here we go. We've got Mike Summerby, Russell Osman.
Not Man City. Mike Summerby nearly broke my elbow with a shot warming up.
Did he?
Yeah. And my brother just about got in the way with it. Got in the way with it. And it hit my elbow, but if it had hit my face, that would have smashed my face in, because he had a fantastic shot. Yeah, what was his name? Kevin something, I think.
No, we had Kevin O'Callaghan. He played in it.
Oh no, it's not him.
The only Irish player in that film. I'm very proud to know that. Now.
Yeah, Kevin O'Callaghan.
Do you know what? I can't see him. maybe he wasn't in this film.
It wasn't Kevin Beattie. It was the other guy.
Mm.
Was it Ross something? Come
Forget
on,
what his name.
you can look it up. Look it up.
All the players there were Kevin O'Callaghan, Sean Lindstein, John Walk. That's it.
John Walk.
That's it. John Walk. Yeah, that's it.
I know. Oh my God. Yeah, because he had that strangy black hair, which had a little kink in it. Yeah.
There you go. He's mass, so we can sort of bring up his thing now.
Kosher.
Being in. Yeah, and we've got Steve D.
Thank you very much.
Was it not Walk? Yeah, it was.
Walk, yes.
I just couldn't think of it,
Steve.
Steve.
There was an Ipswich Town player, and he was a fantastic footballer as well, that John Walk.
Look, Ellie, look, it's a short stream, so we might end it there. Look, on this sad day, your last any thoughts on Pele and your greatest memory of the genius that was Pele?
That great header versus Gordon Banks, because the way you rose, bang. I know it was against England, and it was sad that he scored against us, but you have to praise the man. And my heart goes out to his family. My condolences for all his family and his friends. And he's got millions of family and friends around the world that are not related to him, but we are his family and friends, because that's how he made us feel.
Yeah, he did. For me, the header against Gordon Banks, he set up Jarzinho for the only goal. But I think for me, the greatest memory was his last professional game. He played the first half for Santos. He played the second half for the New York Cosmos.
Wow.
And that was just, and won the World Cup 3 times. And I think he's the only player to win the World Cup 3 times as a player. Yeah. So look, we'll end it there. We're back tomorrow night with Fan Zone, me and Philip Brady. Ellie, you're back on the new year for the ladies show?
Yeah, for the new year for the ladies show. And I want to take it into a new direction as well, but we'll keep that under wraps to surprise everybody, because we want to keep some things under wraps so that you don't know everything. And then you tune in and you get surprised. Yeah, so it'd be me and Mia. Right, so Mia's fantastic as well, and we'll give you a great show, definitely.
Yeah, we've got Philip. We've got the Godfather Talks back now every morning in the new year. We've got the post-match, pre-match. So we've got plenty of shows coming up. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It was a very quickly show put together. Big up to everyone. Welton, thank you to the Mr. Mass for his super chat. Thank you again to Nick Copeland for sponsoring this show, and also for his becoming a channel member as well. And please, everyone, do get your channel memberships and be like Nick and get that badge beside your name. Mick Harmlett, good evening, Ellie and Dermot. Well, we're just on the way out now, Mick. But look, very sad news tonight about Pele, and thank you so much for joining in. We're back tomorrow at 9, me and Philip. We'll see you then. Enjoy the rest of the evening. God bless you. And whatever you do, in Conte we trust. Come on, you Spurs.
Come.